What is up, you guys? It's Bebe. Welcome back to my channel. Sorry that I sound nasty. I'm getting beat up by a summer cold right now and we are just coming out of it, so if I look a little Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, you know what's going on. Today we are going to talk about Electric Zoo. I do not know how the fuck EZoo just crept up on us like this. Like, it's in 2 weeks. I'm not sure how that happened. I'm not sure how it's basically the end of August. I do not know how summer just did that. I just don't know. But we need to talk about EZoo because I'm sure a lot of you are going for the first time. And I thought I would sit down and kind of go over some things you should know if you're a first timer, or even if you've gone already and maybe want to see if you can learn something new about it. EZoo is my home festival. It's the only EDM festival that we get in New York, so we cherish it. And I'm excited to kind of give you guys the rundown of just the logistics and some things you should know before you go. I do have a lineup review up, so if you want to learn more about the lineup, I'm not going to talk about that as much in this video. I will link that video up above. I break down the entire thing, all the smaller artists you might not know. And yeah, you can go watch that if you're looking to research more of the artists on the lineup. I also talked about it in the lineup video, but originally I was going to Electric Zoo, like attending, but now I'm actually working the event all 3 days. So I will be there, just I'll be behind the scenes. So I'm still so excited though. It's definitely going to be cool seeing EZoo from a new perspective. Having been someone who's gone to it, so I'm really excited. So I will be there, but just in a different way. I'm also an ambassador for Electric Zoo with POLLEN, so if you are looking to buy tickets that are a little bit discounted, you can buy them through me. Just send me a DM on Instagram or Twitter, or you can even send me an email. My email's on my YouTube page, and I can get you set up with a personalized link to buy. It's through the official ticket website. You just get a discount by buying them through me. So if you would like to buy tickets, definitely hit me up. We're not sold out yet, but I have a feeling we're gonna be soon. First things first, I want to talk about, because this is a new update, EZoo has new COVID restrictions and guidelines. So if you are going and you haven't seen that update yet, basically if you want to still attend the event, you either need proof of vaccination or you need to get a negative test result within 72 hours of the first day of the festival. So if you are not vaccinated, you need to go get that test. So yeah, that's just something to keep in mind if you are planning to go. Make arrangements. New York, there's so many places to go get tested in the city. It's really easy. We were the fucking epicenter of the pandemic last year, so we got you on the testing sites. So I kind of broke things down into categories, and I used this category breakdown for my recap and review video of Sunset. And I feel like this is a pretty good breakdown of things that you should know. So I'm gonna go through them really quick. So first off is weather and terrain. Weather, let me tell you, weather in the Northeast around that time of year, it's just unpredictable. It's still kind of thunderstorm season, so you could potentially have to deal with that. It can either be blazing hot still on Labor Day weekend, or it can kind of be cooling off. Like, I remember in 2019 for EZoo, Saturday was boiling hot. Like, it was so hot and so sunny, and then on Sunday it was very cloudy and it cooled off a lot, so I was actually like pretty chilly by the end of the night. So don't finalize anything you are wearing until like the week of or a few days before, when you can check the weather and see exactly what it's gonna be. I need fucking chapstick, oh my god. Okay, I would bring a rain poncho. Bring it to, if you're traveling from out of New York, or you live in New York and you don't have a rain poncho, I would just go buy one. They're like $1. It depends where you go, but they're very cheap. And then if there's rain on the forecast, just throw it in your bag for the festival that day. I promise you, like, you don't want to be miserable in the rain at a festival. It's not fun. Yeah, for weather, just, it's unpredictable. Just prepare for everything. Okay, now we're gonna talk about transportation, because for EZoo, the amount of options that you have is very overwhelming. So as someone who lives, not at the moment, I'm in between leases right now. I'm moving back into the city in 2 weeks, bitch. As someone who's lived in the city for 4 years and knows the public transit very well, let me give you the breakdown. For Izu, you have the subway, you have the ferry, you can walk the bridge, they have shuttles, you can Uber. Like, there's so much to choose from. My personal preference is when I am going to the festival, I will Uber onto Randall's Island. So take an Uber straight onto the island, and then at the end of the night I will walk the bridge. Okay, there's a bridge that goes to Manhattan, there's a bridge that goes to Queens. Make sure you walk on the right one. Emma Capotis. So I will walk the bridge over to Manhattan, and then depending on how bad the Uber situation is, because it does get really crowded on the other side of the bridge, and you're in Harlem, which isn't always the best area to be a woman late at night in minimal clothing, you know what I mean? You can either get on the subway, there's the train right there, or you can wait and call an Uber. If you have never been to New York City, the ferry is an option. It is, you know, pricey. However, if you've never been to New York, it has cute views of the city. Okay, so if it's your first time in the city, maybe it's, you know, worth the investment to take the ferry. Also, the ferry is really easy. It's just a little bit more money, so something to keep in mind. Shuttles, I would avoid at all costs. I will never forget walking home. I think it was Saturday or Sunday. There was one day at Izu in 2019 where I left the festival so late because I stayed until the very, very, very end, and I was on the rail at main stage. So I think it was Saturday, yeah. So by the time I had made it all the way away from the rail, all the way off of Randall's Island, like walking towards the bridge, the lines for the shuttle, like, tragic. Unless you're leaving early and you are able to leave early and there's artists that you don't need to stick around for the whole time for, then maybe the shuttle is, you know, a better option. But girl, if you want to stay the whole time, the shuttle is not for you. You cannot call, this is important, you cannot call an Uber onto the island after the festival ends. So you need to walk the bridge if you want to get an Uber. But honestly, the bridge walk is kind of a rite of passage, okay? Like, at the end of the night when everyone's just walking across that thing and everyone's just like I have many fond memories walking that bridge, okay? It's fun. It's really not that bad. Sorry, I'm just thinking about that walk now. Funny memories. So yeah, my opinion is walk the bridge afterwards, and then the subway, this is important, the subway is $2.75 to ride anywhere. Anywhere. It doesn't charge you by how far away you go. It just, you swipe MetroCard or tap your contactless credit or debit card right at the turnstile, and $2.75, you can go anywhere. So if you're trying to ball on a budget, that's the way to go. Next, we're going to talk about the crowd slash the vibes. Yeah, this is something I talked about in my SMF review, because I think the crowd and the vibe of an event makes or breaks the event. It's really important to me. So for Izu, just be warned, it's not the most, like, como se dice, it's not the most, like, plur, like, lovey-dovey, like, it's just, like, we're in New York. It's not EDC. Let's just put it that way. It's not EDC. Don't get me wrong, there's still good energy, there's some plur, there's good vibes. It's just not at the tier of like an EDC where everyone's like, oh my god, like I love you so much. Like, that is not Electric Zoo. I don't know, like I feel like I've had people come to Electric Zoo or like come to shows in New York and they're like, oh, your crowd wasn't that great. I'm like, no, it's just like, I don't know. Form opinions for yourself, but just know that it's not gonna be like a lovey-dovey EDC type crowd. Next, we're gonna talk about vendors, so lines and prices. Izu is completely cashless, so you need to load up your wristband if you want to buy drinks or food or anything. It's all completely cashless. So make sure you load up your wristband if you want to buy anything. I'll just let you know right now, everything is fucking expensive. It's New York. Sorry, like you will literally pay like $25 for a drink. I would say pre-game a little harder so you don't have to spend as much money in the festival, but maybe that's just me being younger and that's my outlook on life, being economically efficient. But yeah, if you're drinking in the festival, you're gonna be spending some coin, so just be prepared for that. However, if there's something you should spend money on in the festival, it is the food. I personally, like, I normally with festivals, I eat a big meal like before I go into the event, and then I don't really eat a meal inside of the festival. The food at Electric Zoo, it's like mostly New York, like local vendors, so they have like food trucks. Again, if you've never been to New York, highly recommend getting something to eat at Izu. It is so good. They have vegetarian, vegan options, which we love and we stan. If you're gonna open your purse for anything in that festival, it needs to be the food. take my word for it. Now we'll talk about security, just how in depth they go and the lines for security. Security at Electric Zoo, let me tell you, it is some of the most intense security I've ever seen. However, when I went in the lines, they kind of just waved me on. They didn't really check my bag that much. However, they do have a whole thing set up to like strip search you. So if you are looking at any type of sus or anything, like they're gonna pull you aside. Izu, I have seen the most undercover cops at that festival above any other festival. I watched like 6 people get taken out in handcuffs in 2019, just like inside the festival. Like they just don't play around at Izu, and for good reason. Like it's a major metropolitan area. So yeah, they do have dogs at security to sniff for weapons and potentially other things. Just use your brain. Don't be stupid. That's all I gotta say about security. Now we will talk about production and layout. So despite being in New York City, I feel like people think that Izu is going to be a lot bigger geographically than it is. Izu is actually pretty small, like it's pretty condensed, which I also kind of like, because if you are like me and like to see multiple artists and go from stage to stage, it's really easy to do that. Everything is not that far apart, so that's great. This year every single stage is open air, which is exciting. So normally they have like tent stages as well as like obviously main stage is open air, but this year everything is open air, which is super exciting. So if you're looking to catch multiple artists and just kind of run around and explore different genres, this is a great festival to do that. You will have a super easy time doing so. The last thing I want to talk about, because this is a huge aspect of Izu, and that is the after parties. The after parties, if you haven't seen the graphic for these after parties, I'll pop it up right here. The after parties for this festival are insane. There are so many at so many different venues. Like, I personally, above any other venue, recommend Brooklyn Mirage. I've talked about it on this channel before. It's kind of like our home, like big, like the best electronic music venue in New York. Honestly, one of my favorite venues in the world, if not my favorite venue in the world. If you've never been to the city, you need to go to Brooklyn Mirage. That's all I gotta say. Brooklyn Mirage and Avant-Gardner are the same, not the same building, but like it's the same venue. It's just that, so if you look at this after party lineup list, right? Avant-Gardner is made up of King's Hall, Great Hall, and Lost Circus. I don't think they're doing after parties at Lost Circus though. So King's Hall and Great Hall is Avant-Gardner. So that's like these two little indoor venues, and then in the middle of that is Brooklyn Mirage. So it is all the same place. So yeah, Brooklyn Mirage is outdoor, King's Hall and Great Hall and Avant-Gardner are indoor. I recommend that venue, those venues, above any of the others. If one of your favorite artists is playing at Quantum, which is in Brooklyn, I would recommend that because it's very small. Quantum is tiny, it's a little room, so if you have a favorite artist playing there, definitely go there. It's a very like intimate space to see an artist perform. Webster Hall is a pretty small venue as well. It's in Manhattan rather than Brooklyn, so depending on where you're staying, it might be easier to get to. But Webster Hall, usually it's bass artists that play Webster when they come to town, but the after parties were not bass, or not all bass music at Webster. I forget who exactly was on them, but I know like Alan Walker was playing Webster, which I was kind of surprised by. But yeah, it's a really cool venue. I just saw Murata there last weekend. It's fun. So yeah, that one is in East Village, Manhattan, which is right where I used to live. So I like Webster, but again, Mirage is what I would recommend. And then also there's the after parties at Marquee. So if you've seen those, Marquee is the more like, it's a more like posh club, so it's like a club. I'm just gonna say flat out, I'm not a fan of Marquee. So if you're on the fence about doing, like, I know Illenium what's that? Illenium's after party is at Marquee, which I was a little bummed about. I will not be going. If that says anything about the venue, yeah, one of my favorite artists is playing an after party at Marquee and I won't go. Let's just use that as perspective about how I feel about Marquee. It's just not for me. My friends and I it's very not the vibe for us. It's also very packed in there. And I don't like, listen, if I'm packed into a crowd but the vibes are good, then hey, I can deal. But if I'm packed into the crowd and the vibes are off, and that is what Marquee is to me. I think that's everything I wanted to talk about today for Izu. If you guys have any more questions, please leave them down below. I'm happy to answer. Again, if you want to buy tickets, hit me up. I will set you up with a link. And I'm very excited for EZU this year. Again, I'm going to be seeing it from a different perspective because I'm working rather than going. But it's going to be a great time and I'm super, super excited. So yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. Be sure to subscribe to stay updated on all my content and what events I'm doing. And yeah, I will talk to you guys later. Bye.